Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Samtastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So, I have some fun little card ideas that I want to share with you that feature one of the Saleabration stamp sets. It is called Island Vibes, and there's actually only 3 images in this particular stamp set, but you can do an awful lot with it. So, I'm going to share just 4 ideas with you today featuring this set, and it's one of the Celebration stamp sets. So, Celebration is going to end in like a week. So I thought, well, I better share these with you guys before Celebration ends. So, so good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. So these are the cards that I'm going to share with you today. They're pretty simple designs, even though they might not look like it. You'll be surprised at how easy these designs are. So I'll share some of these fun little things with you. Um, the other thing, so good morning. If you're just joining me, this is the stamp set that I'm using, Island Vibes. And then I'm also using the special moments stamp set. So if you're wondering where some of the greetings and sentiments came from that I'm using, it came from this particular set. This is also a Celebration stamp set. And then let's open this up. I'm also using the Hippo and Friends dies. So I'm using some of the dies from this particular set. Okay, so let's take a look at these card ideas. I'm going to just move some of these out of the way and we will let's start with this one. So, like I said, the stamp set itself, there's only 3 images. So when I first saw it, I was kind of like, oh, there's only 3 images. But then when I actually played around with it, I was like, oh, it's really a nice set. Really has a lot of fun things that you can do. So the first thing I'm going to do, so I'm using Pear Pizzazz cardstock for the base of my card. So I'm going to start by using this large image. And I'm from Wisconsin, so forgive me if I don't know what all this stuff is. I'm just going to call them leaves. I'm going to use these leaves to just kind of decorate the side of my card. So I am going to bring in some scrap paper here. And let me just smooth this out a little bit more. So I'm just going to use some Pear Pizzazz ink. And we're going to use this larger image here. So the image is kind of set up so that you can, stamp it along the side of your card. Now, the thing about this particular image, I don't know if there's might be too much glare. The thing about this image is that it doesn't go all the way to the end. I don't know if you can see that. So you have to kind of eyeball it. I don't always get it perfect, but I get it close enough. That's what's important. So you have to kind of go off to the side. Let's see how well I do here. Oh, I did pretty good. Let's see if I can do that again. So sometimes if you stamp it too far over, you'll get like a little line. I'll show you on my other cards. You'll get like a little line that shows up. So I just want these little leaves here off the sides. So I'm gonna just turn that stamp. There we go. All right. So that's really what I did just to kind of add a little bit of, a little bit of fun to the side of the card, a little bit of border. Then I just took a sponge and did a little bit of sponging along the card just to kind of add a little texture, I guess, a little depth and dimension. Well, you guys know I like the worn look and I like paper tearing and all that kind of stuff. So this just kind of dresses up the card edge a little bit more. We'll add some to our leaves too. Leaves. I know there's a word for it. Okay. And then the next thing I did is, I don't know if you guys saw this vellum. There's this, it's called Layering Designs, I believe. Let's see. Yes, layering designs. And it has a variety of different designs. I happen to choose like the newspaper look. But so this newspaper is printed right on this vellum. So I'm just going to add this vellum to the side of my card. And then we'll add the decorations right over the vellum. So I like to kind of add a bunch of glue and then scoot it around a little bit so that so that it doesn't show as much. You can still see it, but don't worry, we'll cover it all up. And then I took one of these little, oh, I forgot what they're called. I haven't used these in a while. These little lattice pieces. And I'm just picking this out here. Maybe. So I'm just going to put this little lattice piece right on here. So I need my paper again because I'm going to add some glue to my paper. And I am just going to sponge some glue on this. Oops, I grabbed the wrong sponge. It's got green on it. Try that again. Got too many sponges laying out. Let's try my glue sponge. So I just dab it all around. And then we'll just add this right off the side. There we go. So you can already see it's starting to fill that in, and you won't be able to see any of those glue spots through there, hopefully. Hopefully when I get done. Now we'll just create the little focal points. I'm using one of the other images in this set. And again, I know there's a word for it. You guys can drop it in the comments. It's like a little tree in a pot. That's what I'll call it. A little island tree. And then we'll add this to the card. So I just stamped that in Pear Pizzazz. See, that's what happens when you get island cards from somebody that lives in Wisconsin. Now, if this was a maple tree, I'd be able to probably identify that. All right, so then we'll add this off the side here. And then I stamped my greetings. So these are the little thanks greeting from the Saleabration stamp set, that special moments stamp set. So I just stamped it on a scrap piece of white cardstock. And now I'm just trimming it down. And I will use it as a greeting on the card. Just kind of layer these together. So we'll add a little dimensional to each of them. And then we will pop it up. So it's a pretty simple card. And just kind of a fun way to use this stamp set. Whoop, I have glue on my finger. And then we'll add just a couple little metallic pearls here. So these are the gold metallic pearls. And then we'll just add one right here. Oops, we'll add some more down on the bottom. There we go. Whoa, it's not sticking. Okay, so that's what the card looks like. And then you can add, some paper on the inside. This is just a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock. And then I just stamped the same image just to decorate the inside. So that's the first card. Let me put this to the side and we will grab the next one. So we might as well stick with this little tree. We'll do this next one. All right, so for this one, This time I'm going to use a piece of evening evergreen cardstock for the base of the card, and then we'll just kind of decorate it up with some pear pizzazz. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of uh, pear pizzazz cardstock. So I'm going to do the same type of thing, except now that I have glue on my paper, I'm just going to tear it. So I'm going to add some of those leaves to the border of this pear pizzazz piece. So let's turn this so I'm going to go this direction first, I think. Let's see. Go here, and then we'll just kind of go along, and we'll add just a little bit off the side. So the thing about this image is it has, that kind of this angle here. So you can't just, well, you could. I don't just stamp it on the cardstock. I kind of angle it so that I can get a variety of different images on the side of the card without getting that line on there, I guess is my point. And then we'll just kind of angle this, and we'll just go all the way around the card. And let's see if I can fit this in here. There we go. So it just gives you a really nice border. And then we can go ahead and add some other little pieces. So I am just using some of the designer paper from the Artistically Composed Designer Series paper pack. So that goes really well with this particular stamp set. So we'll add this right across here. This is just a 1 by 4 inch piece. And then I just took a little bit of ribbon, and we'll add this along the bottom. So I'm just going to cut it a little bit larger than my pattern paper here, or excuse me, my cardstock here. So I want this to go right along the bottom. Now this ribbon is it's a very sheer ribbon. So I like to tape it to the back using just a little bit of washi tape. You can use Scotch tape, whatever you have. That'll just kind of keep it in place. And then you won't have all that glue showing through. So let's see. So that's how that looks. And then we'll just add this to our card. I think I got all the pieces on there. So that is what the main card looks like. And then I just cut a couple of pieces using the dies from that Hippo and Friends die set. So these layer really nicely together. So I cut one from white and then one from the evening evergreen. So we'll put these together, and then we'll add this to the card. We'll just kind of pop it up right here. And then I took this little potted, I'm going to call it a potted plant, and I stamped it on a scrap piece of white cardstock, and then using the Pear Pizzazz ink, and then I just cut it out with my scissors. I'll just pop that up on the card. And then the last thing is just to add your little greeting. Now I do lots of thank you cards, so I'm doing thanks, 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 but you can add any greeting you want. So I'm just going to trim these down, and then we can pop them up. Here we go. must have a lot of glue on my fingers. It's sticking. It's sticking, sticking. All right, so we'll put one here and we'll tuck this one. So I like to kind of tuck them together. And then we'll put this one under here. All right. And then, see, when you cut out your greetings, it gives you so many more options for, adding greetings or sentiments to your card. And then the last thing I'll do here is just add a couple pearls just to decorate it up. All right. And then did I decorate the inside? See, I did. Now here you can see how I didn't quite get close enough to the edge. And I probably did this on purpose. So I'll just say I did this on purpose. But you can see how the decorates the inside nicely as well. Okay, so there is card number 2. And then let's do card number 3. So this one, we're going to switch to pineapples now. So as I said, there's, three different images in this particular set. So you have those leaves in the background and then that little potted plant and then this pineapple. So I'm going to use the leaves with this pineapple. And this one I actually did do that on purpose. After I told you I didn't, but I did. So I'm going to add my leaves to, this is just a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock. So I'm just going to come in just a little bit off the side and stamp that. And then I'm going to probably turn this so that I can do the other side. And then we'll stamp this one just a little bit inward. So that just gives it a fun little look. And then we can go ahead and decorate it. So I'm actually going to stamp my greeting before we do that. Before I add it to the card, I have to grab my greeting. Thought I had them all. All right, well, we'll do this in 1 second here because I want to add my other pieces. Okay, so then I just took some of that pattern paper and I just used one of the Hippo and Friends dies and I cut out the designer paper so that I had a nice little focal point in the center. And then I stamped the pineapple image on a scrap piece of white cardstock. So first I stamped it using the Evening Evergreen, and then I colored in the leaves using a light old olive Stamp and Blend. So it just adds, let me show you what it looks like here. So this is what the pineapple looks like when you just stamp it and you don't color it in. So I stamped it in the darker and color, and then I colored it in with the lighter green. And then I just cut this image out by hand using my scissors. And then I stamped the little pineapple piece. So I stamped it again, and then I cut out the bottom part because I wanted to make my pineapple, yellow on the bottom and then have the darker and lighter green on the top. So I stamped this image again using a lighter ink, a lighter color ink. So I stamped it using Pear Pizzazz, and then I colored this in with some Daffodil Delight, the darker Daffodil Delight. And then I just cut out the pineapple, the bottom part here. So what I'm going to do is just adhere this to this other piece so that I have a pineapple that isn't all green. It isn't all dark green. So we'll just add that right over the top. And then you have a really nice little pineapple image. And then we can pop this up on the card. So I'm going to find my dimensionals. I keep losing them on the table. So let's pop this up. And I'll show you with the next card kind of what I'm talking about, but I probably should have shown you the other card first. But then you just pop this up on this little piece here, and then we'll just add a little bit of ribbon. So I'm just using some of this evening evergreen ribbon, and I'm just gonna like accordion fold it together to create, you know, just a little layered piece of bow here, or ribbon. And if I can cut. And then I'm just gonna tape this right on the back of this piece. So we'll just kind of move this around. So we layer it together, and then we tape it across the back. So that's where your washi tape or Scotch tape or anything will come in handy. So you can just layer it across the back, and then you have your ribbon right behind your focal point for the card. So we'll go ahead and add a couple dimensionals. I like to add some dimensionals to the ribbon just to hold it in place, because I only adhered it with washi tape. So you can easily pull that ribbon apart. So I just like to hold it down to where I want it. And we'll add this one. So I'm going to get all this in place before I stamp my greeting. So we'll add this right to the center. And then I'll add my little greeting on the bottom here. And I'm just using a little evening evergreen ink. And then we'll add it to the card. So just some fun and simple techniques that you can use in your card making to just kind of use your ribbon and you know, use some of your designer paper to create your little focal point. Your focal point doesn't always have to be, you know, have a stamped greeting on it. So, okay, so there's that. And then for this one, for this card, I was just kind of using up some of my other embellishments, but I can certainly just use these little gold pearls. So we can add some of these. All right, so that is the third card. And then on the inside, I just used a little bit of designer paper and just left it blank to write a little message. All right, so that is card number 3. Whoops. And then this is the last card that I want to share. And so this one uses some of that vellum in the background and a bunch of different layers, but it really is pretty easy to put together. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I got to clean my pineapple. So the first thing I'm going to do is just stamp this pineapple in the background here. So this is just a 2 by 4 1/4 inch piece of bumblebee cardstock. Let me just grab my scrap paper. So I'm just going to stamp it using bumblebee ink. And we'll just add like a pineapple off to the side. And then we'll add one off this direction. And that should be enough for us to put the rest of our focal point. Will cover the rest, so we won't have to add anything else. Sorry, I had to clean this again. Okay, so now we have another little layering, some layering dies. So I'm again using those Hippo and Friends dies. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my pineapple using the Pear Pizzazz ink. So I'm going to stamp it right on this white one. And so we'll add that. And then I'm going to just use my stamping blend. So I'm using my Dark Daffodil Delight stamping blend. And I'm just going to add some color to the bottom of the pineapple. Now you can also add color to the leaves if you want. If you want to add a little bit darker color, you can certainly do that. But it's easy enough just to take your stamping blends and add a little color to the pineapple. And then we will add these, adhere these two together. All right, so that's that one. And then we will take a half of a doily. I'm using some of these doilies from the Heart and Home, they're Heart and Home doilies. So I'm going to adhere this to the side. So I'm only using a half of one. So we'll just adhere this right to the side. Just kind of adds a little bit. I didn't care for the look of the whole doily, so I just used half of it. So we got that all set up. Let's add a couple dimensionals to the back of this before we continue. And we'll just add some off the side. All right, so we got that all set up. So let's start with the card here. So our card base is just white cardstock for the base of the card. And then my little paper piece is just 3x4. And so I am going to add this right in the center. So we'll start with that. And then we'll take our little stamped pineapples and we'll just add this right over the center. And this will help hold that vellum down too. And then I have a little 3/4 inch wide piece of designer paper. And I just did a little bit of paper tearing and just kind of tore one of the ends. And then this is just going to go right across the bottom here. So we'll just add that. And then we will add our focal point. So that is our focal point then. And then you can decorate it up with, you know, a little bit of twine. I have some of this linen thread here. So I'm just going to add a little glue dot up on the top. And I just have 2 pieces of linen thread that I tied together to create that little bow. And then of course I have my little words here. So we will add these. So this card really is just a lot of different layers, but it's, you know, not difficult to create. We'll add our little thanks there, and then we'll decorate it up with a couple little pearls here. Okay. All right, so that is the last card. And then on the inside, I don't think I did anything on the inside of this one. And that is because I was going to show you, I don't know if you saw my video on Wednesday, but I created a little pop-up section for the inside of my card. So it's a really simple pop-up. It's just this little folded section here. So if you haven't seen the video, I recommend going to watch it. But basically, I just cut a, uh, what did I cut? It was 5.5 by 8.5. So it was your regular card size. I folded it in half and then I just trimmed it down so that I ended up with a card front here that's 4 inches by 5.25 so that it fits nicely inside my card. Okay. And then once I had this cut down, then I just basically took the corner and just folded it over. There's no special scoring tool or anything that's needed. You can just eyeball it, just fold it over so that this line is parallel with this one. And then just use your bone folder and just kind of crease this down. And then when you open it up, you have this little triangular section that you can use as a pop-up on the inside of your card. Okay, so we can adhere this to the inside of our card. So for this card, so I showed you guys that with the driving by stamp set, but you can do the same thing with this stamp set. So you can add a little pineapple. I already stamped it, colored it in. You can add a little pineapple to this section. So I just scored this pineapple right down the center here because you want the pineapple to fold with this fold. So I am going to add my pineapple to the top here. I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. So I'm just going to glue this down right on that. I'll move it down just a little bit. Right on that fold. And we'll just crease it together to make sure that it stays. And now you have a little pop-up pineapple. So can you see how it stays inside the card? And it just pops up with this little triangular section. So if you haven't seen my video, I recommend going to watch that. You'll get all the measurements on how to create this. So I'm actually just going to add this to the inside of my card here, just so I can show you what this looks like. So I'm just adding glue to one side. And I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to line up like the folds together. And then I'm just going to close my card. So I just laid the scored area on my pop-up section. I laid that right in the scored area of my card. And now we'll just add some glue on this side. So I tend to glue down one side at a time. And then we'll let that sit for a second. And there you go. Now you have this cute little pop-up section. So this card says thanks, and now it's got a little pop-up. And now we can take some additional pieces. Let me just show you here. And we can add some other pieces just to decorate the inside of our card. So I'm going to add just a 3/4 by 5.25 inch piece of designer paper on this side. And then I'm going to quickly do this. Let me just clean my pineapple off here. Then I'm going to stamp some pineapples on this little piece. So this is just a 2 by 5.25 inch piece. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. I don't really have a plan for how I'm stamping this, but we will just make it work. So I want to just coordinate it with what I already have. So we'll just stamp that little pineapple all the way down this piece of cardstock. So this is the bumblebee cardstock. And then we'll add that on the other side. So I'll pull this down a little bit. We'll add this over on this side. And there you go. And then you can stamp a greeting in here, or you can, write a personalized message. So just kind of a fun little way. I just wanted to show you that you can use this pop-up section with really any image because it folds down nicely inside the card. So see how my pineapple stays inside the card and it folds down. So just a fun little idea for you. All right, let me bring these back. I'll show you these cards again, and then I'll let you guys go for the day. So here are all the cards I created. And then again, that little pop-up section is really easy to create. So I recommend taking a look at it. You can pop up butterflies, flowers, whatever you want to pop up. So, all right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed these card ideas, and I hope you enjoyed that little pop-up section, just kind of that little sneak peek. So be sure to go watch the video from Wednesday so you can see how to create that. And then be sure to take advantage of Saleabration. We only have about a week left and Saleabration ends. So if you like this stamp set or you weren't sure about this stamp set and now you really like it, I recommend getting it before Saleabration ends. So you can find the link in the description with this video. I'll get the all of these card ideas out on my blog later today, so I'll provide you that link as well. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Take care, everybody.